G'day YouTube, my name's Lance, welcome to Bundy Bear Shed. Well, the weather report, 20 to 30, and we've only got 59% humidity, which, I don't know, feels a little bit humid, so anyway, we'll see how we go. No rain, but we got all the place slashed over the weekend. Judy jumped on the ride-on and did up around the house. I did all the slashing. There was one of the neighbours, the old fella up the front near the house, had a big old bottle brush that had fell over the fence, and I slashed around it last time, but I thought, oh, we'll just tidy it up. So we got the chainsaw out and cleaned that up, and we've got quite a pile of rubbish out the front, which you'll see later when I show you the video. Yeah, in the orchard, most of the orchard's done. I put the trailer on yesterday evening and did some roundup, around the sheds and that, so the grass, we're not weed eating, whippersnipping and things like that. And yeah, it was just a busy day. Yeah, flat out. Oh, I got me bloody Bundy Dundee's hat on. Yeah. No. And look, this is an older hat I've had, and I had it on yesterday. I've got a big straw hat I use for the mowing, and yeah, look like I'm straight out of Singapore rice paddies with it. But anyway, it keeps the sun off. It keeps me good looking. And anyway, I don't know what I've done with it. I've sat it somewhere and I don't know where. And I've had this hat. Now this is an Akubra, Australian Akubra, and in the shed I wear mainly caps, because these broad brimmed hats, when you're looking in things and under things and round things, they're a bit of a nuisance. But as a young bloke, when I first went out on my own in business, well, this is what I wore. I wore it all day, every day, and away we went. But this one here is one of those hats and you get hats that are comfy and you don't even know they're there. But this one's never been like that. It's always been a bit, I don't know, just not comfy to me. So anyway, yesterday after wearing it on the mower, I thought, oh, this is silly, have a $100 hat just sitting in the shed because you don't like wearing it. So I took it up, put the plug in the sink in the bathroom and put hot water in it and let it soak for a few hours, and to soften it up, because the fur felt, it'll give a little bit. Now the band just come off this morning, and the band just came off from just sitting and not being used, like the band's dried out. So normally it has a bit of a band around there, and you look flash, eh? So I might stick a flex hat back on, who knows, I might bloody not too. It's only a hat. And so I've soaked the hat, and it's a 59, and I always took 59 in a hat, but it feels a little tight. So what the idea was I've soaked it in hot water, and I'm going to try and wear it round for the next little while. And what happens is that the sweat from your brow, even though I'm an office worker, we do have it when we come home, not at work. And the sweat from your brow gets into, and it expands things out a little bit. And but yeah, the hat before this, it lasted me probably 20 years. Then I bought this one probably 5 or 6 years ago, and just never took to it for some reason. And I've got another one I had to have for my nephew Phil's wedding, a whiter one, and Jude says, well, wear that, take it out and about. But it's just light, and I'm getting grubby fingerprints on it and things like that. And when you're a machinery bloke, you just got to walk past the tractor, and grease will jump a foot to get on you. No, it's just how it goes. So while I've been out buggering around, I thought I'd wear my little Akubra here, and see if I can get back comfy with it, with skin cancers and sun cancers and all that. It's just pays, where having a cap like your CRC cap, Sparex cap, Queensland Tractor Spares cap, whatever, in the shed is fine. But anyway, this is what I'm trying to do for the moment, is get this bloody hat nice and comfy. So I'll just wear it for a while and see if I can put up with it and stop whinging. What happened through the week? Holy dooly, what a week. The kids' motorbikes, I bought the kids 2.5 years ago, 2020, June 2020. I bought a couple of little motorbikes locally, little Pee-wee 50 Yamahas, and they were Chinese knockoffs, and the bloke had put tanks on them and all that, and I didn't know how to tell. So anyway, I gave them to a nephew, and I went and bought 2 little bikes for the grandkids. And look, they roared around here and ginned around on them, and but over the last 12 months probably, yeah, every time we try and start them, I'd be starting them in here and I'd be draining the fuel out in the car because they got used so little. And so I said to Tim, I said, oh look, I'm going to sell those bloody motorbikes. And he said, oh, why is that, Dad? And I said, well, they never get used because they sit in town, like Tim and Ellie, when they got the kids there 4 or 5 k's away, and they don't get out here to ride motorbikes. They play games and watch telly and movies and all that, but they don't get out here in the fresh air much. And the kid's mum, Bree, she come out a few times, but then the novelty wore off. And so I thought, well, Christmas coming up, it'd be a good time to put them out on Marketplace. But I never met so many wankers in my life. Holy tosses. And anyway, I put it out on Facebook last Sunday, and I had a some people like, oh well, the story is that they're $2,600 to buy new. They've probably done 50 hours maybe. They've had their first free service, and that's about it. The tits are still on the tyres, and they're in good order. They're as new roughly. And I thought, well, give some family a bit of a break for Christmas, and I said $1,950, and we had trainer wheels for one and a couple of spare helmets. And Jude was on to me. She says, you're giving the helmets away too? And I said, well, what are we going to do? If the kids get into motorbikes later in life, these helmets won't be any good. We'll just have them collecting dust. So let's give them to a family, you know. They give them to someone that can use it. So that's what we've done. And anyway, one bloke jumped on once I had him on there, and he said, yeah, can I have a look Monday after work? And I said, yeah, no worries, mate. So beauty. So then I had another Rick from Pomona, Rick and Tracy. Rick's young fella, Shannon, he got onto me and he says, hey Lance, any chance I can get those bikes off you? He said, strap them on a pallet and get them to and I'll pick them up from there, and we'll get them sent to Brisbane, and we'll get them sent up to New Guinea. He works for Toyota up at New Guinea, and Papua New Guinea. And I said, look, there's a bloke ahead of you, Shannon. Oh, no worries. So anyway, the bloke come and had a look Monday night, and I had a look, and him and his missus, and oh yeah, that'd be the thing. And you know, on the ad I put, if they wanted to leave them here till Christmas, that would be fine. So he said, you're right with that? And I said, yeah, that's no worries. And he said, I'll go home and put the money straight in your bank account. And I said, yeah, look, that's fine. I'll just keep them here for you. And anyway, a few hours later, they went home. A few hours later, I sent him my bank details, as I said I would. And he says, oh, would you be all right with just $500 now, and we'll pay the rest when we pick them up before Christmas? And I said, yeah, look, that's fine, you know, we'll help where we can. And anyway, about 10 o'clock Tuesday, he just messaged me and he says, oh, Lance, I've had to think about those bikes, not going to take them anymore. I think my kids might be too big. And I said, look, no worries, mate. And so Shannon was next in line, so I messaged Shannon. But in the meantime, I'd had a bloke's private messenger, $1,000, I'll come and pick them up now. And I said, no, piss off, mate. Another bloke says, I'll pay $3,000 maximum for the pair of them, and I want all the stuff for $3,000. I don't care what you want, mate, piss off. And oh, it's only an offer, don't get shitty. And I was just, you know, it was just unreasonable. And anyway, so I got on to Shannon, and Shannon said, because the day before he said, he'll buy them even if for his mates up there, even if he had to pay for them, he'd just grab them, because and I haven't had a yarn to the fellas about why they wanted to jump on them so quickly. They must be very expensive up there or something like that. So so yeah, Dave and Stephen, they've bought them up there in Papua New Guinea. Dave had an Australian bank account, so he backed the money, the full amount of money, no negotiation, no nothing, straight in my bank account. And Stephen, he's organising the freight. So so we're giving them the helmets and the training wheels and all that sort of thing, and they can argue over the bikes when you get there. So and Shannon said, oh, just strap them on a pallet. And I thought, oh, I had a couple of parts boxes, big parts boxes here. I will take you up and show you at the end of the stew. And And it worked out that if I put one of the bikes diagonally in these big parts boxes, well, that going diagonally, it just fitted snugly and it stopped them from rocking around. And I've put a couple of ratchet straps and a couple of exhaust clamps bolted through the box to hold the bikes true and hold them in place and back to where we want them and things like that. So I sent them photos and they're tickled pink. And what's happening on the weekend of the 3rd of December, we have to go to Brisbane. So I told them, I said, look, we've got to go down to Brisbane to a party on that weekend. You know, we may, if it works with you fellas, we'll put the boxes on the back of the Land Cruiser, and rather than you paying freight from Bundaberg to Brisbane and then getting them to Papua New Guinea, yeah, perhaps we can save you a few bob and we can get them down to Brisbane. We can take the Land Cruiser down to the party and go from there. So as far as I know, that's what's happening. But then started the thing about fitting these bikes in boxes. And I got them into the box, and then the handlebars were sticking up so far, and they said, oh, look, that's all right, we think that's okay. And I kept looking at it. I'm thinking, oh, bullshit. Yeah, where the cables, on the throttle you have 2 cables, you know, one push, one pull sort of thing. And on that, they were sticking up above the box, and if someone bumped it with a forklift or something, that was the first thing to get broken off. So I strengthened, I was out the front, I still got to clean up the mess. I was out the front, pulling pallets apart, getting pallet boards, and I've strengthened the top of the box all the way around. And I've even, you know, strengthened in the middle of the bottom as well. And I've made a heavier rim around the top because that's probably where they'd get impacted. And then I'll put 2 bits down the side, 2 bits are probably 30mm, I suppose, down the side. Then I've got 3 rungs of boards across, so one can sit on the other with no trouble at all. There's a plane going right across the top. And what I've done also is I've undone the hand grips and put them down next to the bike and taped them up and all that, just so, you know, the switches and all the plastic easy to break items were sticking up. So I've rolled them down. Well, I've rolled one grip down, the other one I've taken off and wrapped it in bubble wrap and strapped it down to the side. So I hope they're happy with it. I think it's good. They're great little bikes. Had to drain the fuel out of them. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, but that took me bloody most of Saturday, you know, by the time I looked at it and buggered around and did a fair bit of looking. But by the time I looked at it and got them in the box and looked at what it'd go, then they're saying, that, oh yeah, look, that looks good, Lance, beauty. And then I was thinking, oh, I'd hate to bloody, you know, they turn up to New Guinea and there's all these excited kids can't ride their motorbikes because there's $500 worth of damage in parts or something. So anyway, so I'll show you that. So that took most of Saturday. Then yesterday was all day in the paddock in the yard. And yeah, it sort of takes a bit of time. And the afternoons through the week, I've just shown a video. I just filmed a little video of the boat. And we've extended the pull on the boat 330mm, and the boat's made of 3mm. We've extended it with 4mm, and we've put a proper brake coupling on it. And I went to the trailer shop in Bundaberg. I nearly fell over. Like for a brake hitch and the bolts and a plate, $700. And I said, "You're joking, mate." No, that's what it is. I said, "No way, am I paying that?" I said, "I've been to BCF and Road Tech Marine, and they're $200, $213, $219. No, that's it." But he must have had the wrong one. So anyway, I didn't buy it, and I ended up. And anyway, we went back outside talking about it because I said, "Look, let's have a look at another option. I'm not paying that," and because we've decided to put a new axle and all in, and anyway, we just started discussing the springs and the braking pressure and all that on override brakes, which is all we're doing with it. And yeah, we come up with a 1 tonne spring for a 1 tonne load. We're 800 kilos. We'll probably put another couple 100 kilos in it, maybe. So we'll be around a tonne. And we're buying a new axle for it. We're going a 50mm axle with parallel stubs with the big forward bearings on both ends, and because I want to get this on some rough roads and you know, get out remote a little bit. And yeah, so we're getting that with galvanised disc brakes, mechanical disc brakes on it and all that. And they were quite expensive with the axle. I'm getting one at night, and they wouldn't be able to do forward stud pattern, which is what I wanted. That's what most boat trailers have. So I'm interested in having the boat trailer a common stud pattern that if I end up in the middle of nowhere, Alice Springs, somewhere like that, I can just go to the local boat shop and buy something that will fit, not have some exotic bullshit. So anyway, we're getting an axle made and we're putting 14-inch rims on it. We've had 13s, we're going to put 14s. Bigger rolling radius, and the 14s, the light truck tyres on 14s, about 815 kilos each or something like that. So we're well over there, but I'm still going to just use the 13s. I'll take 2 13s with me as spares, and if we have trouble we can pop a 13 on, and if it just, that little bit of difference isn't going to matter jack shit until you get to town. And by going the other wheels too, we're going a wider tyre, so we're not running on pizza cutters. And but anyway, talking to the trailer shop in Bundaberg, and I said about getting it re-modified, re-tagged, engineered for what I want to do. And he said, oh yeah, we can do that, no worries, that's $900. And I thought, oh, really? And he said, yeah, $900 this young fella. And I said, look, I've got friends that have just had their caravans done, and I reckon it was 540, something like that. And I said, the caravan's twin axle caravan and all that, and I'm just not sure. And he says, no, that's what it is. And I thought, oh, okay. So anyway, that, with being expensive with the hitch and then this $900 it played on my mind. So I jumped on Google and had a look. There's a fella in Maryborough does the re-tagging. I've got to take the trailer down to him, but we discussed the chain size and what I'd done and the axle we're putting in, the 1900 kilo axle and all that. And he said, how much more do you want? And I said, we're at 750 now, and on over 750 kilos we've got to have brakes, so we're putting the brakes in. I said the axle will be a 1900 kilo axle. The braking's 1000 kilos, so the springs are 1400 kilo springs in it, I believe now. And so I said, yeah, 12 to 1400 kilos would be all right. And he said, oh, look, that'd be fine. Just make sure you got one good chain, but I'm going to put 2 chains and cross them, so if something happens, the front of the trailer doesn't bite in and things like that. So we went right through what I had to do, and new rubber, and well, I didn't have to have new rubber, but new rubber and the braked axle and the mechanical override and the park brake and all that sort of thing. And I said, what's that going to cost me to get it blue plate or get it modified? Because he's a mechanical engineer, he's registered and licensed to sign off. He says $300. And I said, really? Yeah, okay. I said, I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks, mate. So I said, let me get the axle. So I've got the axle coming from a mob in Brisbane. We're going an extra 15 millimetres wider with the axle. The 14-inch rims have a little more inside offset than the 13s. So we've got the axle custom built for this trailer. So yeah, so it's not a bad thing, but yeah, one little job turns to another, and I'll be a couple of $1,000 into this job soon, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. And Jude says, oh, you always got projects on the go. I said, yeah, I like it like that. And she said, oh, I noticed. So anyway, so the boat's been taking up most of my afternoons this week. I think I mentioned last week I went to put the fuel filter on the Kubota, and the bottom of the filter was jammed in and I couldn't get it out. The bowl cracked. Well, I've just got a new bowl over there, so after the stew I'm going to go over and get that little Kubota running. I have this morning filmed the repairing of the control valve, the loader control valve on the John Deere 1640. Now, last time I used it, I remember telling you that, bloody valve's leaking, had oil dropping on my thong here and dropping on my boots. And anyway, I looked at fixing it yesterday morning. I thought, nah, if there's going to be rain and storms over the next few days, I need to get this slashing done, so bugger it, I'll just top the oil up and go, which is what I did. And ended up with a pretty slippery old foot. And I wiped my feet and all before I went in the house, and I saw the cook bloody looking. Didn't say anything, but looking. And anyway, I parked it out the back where I could get to it in a nice shady spot for the afternoon. I thought it'd take longer, but and I pulled it off. I filmed taking it off. I've just finished filming, putting it all back together on the bench here, and I've got it back. I've got the tractor working, and I just did a little video now of sitting on the tractor with the bucket going up and down and that. So, so the control valve's done. I haven't done the front axle oil seal yet. Whether I will or not, I don't know. I think I might get this little Kubota running, and once I've got the Kubota running, I can pop it outside and perhaps bring the tractor in and do the front axle, you know, with the gantry and all that. But in saying that, outside I've got the forklift. I can just lift and do stuff with the forky. So we'll just see what we go to there. But for the moment, I just want to finish this little Kubota. Now I've still got to get another coolant hose, but now I've got the fuel filter bowl for it. I can start it up today, get it hot, change the engine oil. I want to check the back end oil, see what's working, what's not, you know, check hydraulics and things like that. And yeah, get that happening. Yeah, just mainly to get it out of here. So I just take on too much stuff. And yeah, people say, can you just have a look? Oh, all right, bring it around. So away we go. So, but my mate Chris, he's got a little Mazda truck, and he's just put a V8 electronic V8 Windsor in his little Mazda truck. So he's going to bring it around one arvo, and we'll have a look at that. That'll be interesting, and oh, it would have been some work in it. He's a clever bloke, and yeah, just I'm looking forward to seeing it really, and yeah, hear the rumble of the old Mazda with a V8 Windsor, Ford Windsor block in it. Be a good thing. But look, that's about it. I haven't done much else for the week. I've been, like I say, every afternoon working on the boat trailer, extending the hitch and drilling all the holes to put it on. And today sometime I'm going to sand back and weld the two chains on. You've got to weld them as close as you can to the tow ball, to the hitch, don't have them way back. And that way you can have shorter chains, so if something happens it doesn't go dragging on the ground. So the hitch I made last week, or the pull I made last week for the Hayman Reese tow bar, we may shorten that up yet. So now we've extended the boat trailer and we've picked up some there. We've picked up, well, with the 330 we'd probably pick up about 250 in length there. We may be able to either go back to a standard tongue or shorten that one up a little bit, but it all depends on the measurements from the boat to the back to the tyres on the canopy when we go. I want a fair bit of clearance there, so if you're going down through a gully and you know when the back of the ute's coming up the hill and the boat's coming down, I want plenty of room not to have to worry about that. So these Bundy Bear trailers, if you have a look at the Bundy Bear website, they're componentised, and where the spring hangers go on the chassis, I can actually move them up and back, and the same main frame has tandem wheels. So amazing. So yeah, to get weights right, we actually weighed it. I don't know if I told you that last week or whether it was after I did the stew last week, that yeah, we actually weighed it, and we're allowed 750 on the tag on the trailer, and we're running at about 800, 810 maybe. That's with 88 litres of petrol in the boat, and yeah, all the fishing gear and the spare tyre on the back and all that sort of thing. So that's why we're over a bit, and that's why we're going to work on this. I want it strong. We had a bent axle, so I had to replace it anyway, so I went heavy. So anyway, I said, look, that's about it. I've got the pipes cleaned up for the 65 injector lines, but people come and that was just, never got any further with it. So, but today I'll spend the rest of the day now on that Kubota. If I get it running, I might just take the camera and take a bit of a happy snap for you and let you see it running. Beautifully running engine, that little Kubota, a little 5-cylinder. But look, that's it. There's videos. There'll be one or two on the loader frame, the loader control valve off the John Deere 1640. I think it'll be, oh, anyway, look, it may just go into one, we'll see. It may not go on the stew. I might put that into the John Deere 1640 playlist, but for those who have clicked the little button on the subscribe and clicked the bell, it'll just come into your normal feed anyway, so we'll see how we go. All right, have a good week, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch up. Barry from Man in the Mist, he's got the flu, so he's a bit laid up. So yeah, I hope it doesn't hit you too hard. Jude and myself, we reckon just this last week, towards the end of the week, we started coming good. And I actually had a few beers. Haven't had a beer in weeks and weeks, and had a few beers yesterday, and I'm feeling better for it, I reckon. Well, that's my story. So let me feel crook, have a beer, I think. Just come and see Dr. Lance. All right, catch you next week, eh? See yous. Wow, look at this. We got the whole place slashed and mowed, and we've got a heap of brambles there that were from the tree on the neighbour's place. But yeah, we got the whole thing done, the orchard slashed over there. I still have to tidy up along the front here and do a bit here. But yeah, the whole property got done. So they reckon there's a bit of rain next week, and I thought, well, if we didn't actually hop in and do it, we may have trouble getting back on the paddock for a month or two. So even though it probably technically didn't really need to tidy up, it was just good to take the time and do it. So yeah, looking good. Well, you can notice there, hear the shed creaking. You can notice there there's no wheels on the trailer, and we've got a 40mm axle in it, and looking at the tyres, it was bent, it was wearing on the inside here. So you can see on this tyre here it was wearing inside, the outside's good and it was wearing inside. So we had to address that in one way or another, so I've chose to put a bigger axle in. So I still need to bring the boat forward, but I think I showed you the winch last week. But this last week, I've got the dirtiest worksite you ever saw. But I'll just get some stuff out of the way, or onto the way. That's our new chain, so we have to grind off the gal paint here and put this chain on. The weight we're going to at 1400 kilos. We don't know whether 12 or 1400, but we're going to run 2 chains, even though we need 1, just to be sure, rated shackles. And so this is the new brake setup, and it's an override brake setup for mechanical brakes, and you can get different springs in here. So at the moment we're weighing about 800 kgs roughly, and we're a little bit over, so we've got the handbrake set up here, and the handbrake lever also works as a park brake. So you can see we extended the pull on the trailer here, and we've got a piece of 4mm there, and the trailer was made of 3mm. So this is slightly heavier. We've run a piece of 10mm all the way back behind where the weld joint is. We've put a plate on top here, so the bigger, it's a 75mm box section on the pull. We've put a piece of flat plate here, bolts all the way through with nylon lock nuts and hardened washers here. And this spring, I started having a look at them, and you could buy 3.5 tonne, and I thought, oh, that's all right, we'll do that. But then it was silly to do that. We've actually got a spring in here now that is rated at 1 tonne. You can have 1 tonne, 2 tonne, 3.5 tonne, and probably only 1 and 2 tonne you could have override. I think you would have to go electric, anything over 2 tonne. But yeah, so I've got the 1 tonne spring, so we're 800 kilos now. By the time we put another couple of 100 kilos in, this should be quite sensitive. We can work it. I haven't bought the cables. The whole axle's coming out, and we're putting a big 50mm 1900 kilo axle with mechanical override disc brakes. And we're going from the 13-inch stud pattern, the 13-inch wheels there, to 14-inch wheels, because 14-inch wheels with the light truck tyres are good for 1815 kilograms each, so that puts us well in under. And yeah, we can still keep the 13s as a spare, like just getting to safety with a 13" on a forward stud pattern, and we're actually getting parallel bearings. So the two big forward bearings, so there was only one mob I could find that did that. So yeah, so we've lengthened this, we've put strengthening gussets all the way, we won't have any trouble with that, and yeah, we've got a fella lined up. I've had a good chat to him. I haven't put any of the extra U-bolts on yet, or I haven't brought the boat forward, and I've done a few things on the boat, but yeah, mainly worked on the trailer after work this week, and yeah, we're going to get it certified, mod plated and all that, and he reckons should be no worries at all the way we've done it. So we'll see. That'll be an exercise for a week or two. This axle, we will probably get it this week sometime, we think. But look, we'll just see. We'll play it by ear. Well, out the back, late afternoon, and where I got bogged there the other day, I was bringing a bit of dirt up in through there, and all the water sits at the back door of the shed here, and so I've actually run a bit of a drain down away down to the loading ramp, down to the back of the loading ramp. So hopefully, it's a little bit rough around the edges still. I'm going to put the back blade on one of the tractors and try and just tidy it up and smooth it out a bit with the loader bucket. You know, the wheels go up and down a bit and the loader out there further. That affects it a lot. So yeah, that's been the Savo's little effort. And look, here's the boxes with the motorbikes. You can sort of see down in there I've put a frame across the top just to protect them, so the guards or the handlebars are all below the main frame, so that way you can stack, we can stack these two. And travelling to Brisbane, we're not going to stack them like they are now, they're just like that to save a bit of room in the shed, but the tray on the utes big enough to put them side by side. So yeah, all packed up, ready to go. We don't know where we're going to take them yet, but down Brisbane somewhere, and Judy and I will probably take the Friday off and drop these motorbikes off, do these fellas a favour, and yeah, we might shout ourselves a night down on the ocean at Wyndham or something like that. So got the Kubota Holy air cleaner on, got the fuel going. I put some fuel in the tank and it didn't come through, it's got a fuel block, so I've blown it all back through. I've got the tractor actually running, but the next thing I notice is this hydraulic lever here goes down under the platform. I could pull it forward and the linkage arms at the back there went down, but it is just stuck solid. So down in under that guard somewhere I'll have to feed myself in like a carpet snake and see if I can get that lever moving.